Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Indoor Ag Science Café. Appreciate you being here today. Today I'm just going to go through a couple things and then we'll hand it over to our speaker, Ken Tran. For those of you not familiar with me, I'm John Ertl. I'm Cherry's PhD candidate student. So this is the last year of my degree. And I'm just going to help out with the Q&A and I'm going to moderate that session.
Yeah, and then I'm Cherry Kubota. I'm professor at Ohio State. So welcome to Cafe.
All right. So a few upcoming series. Today is September 20th. So we're going to hear from Ken Tran about indoor farm automation and lessons learned from the autonomous greenhouse challenges. In just a few weeks, on October 11th, we'll hear from Robert Colangelo about vertical farming, starting small and growing big, modular scalable farming systems. Then in November, we'll hear from AJ Both about environmental sensors 101. And then in December, we'll hear from Dr. Shamim Ahmad, maybe pronounced that correctly, of UC Davis about potential of fault detection and diagnosis tools for autonomous CEA production. There are a couple OptimIA things that I'm going to bring up to make a note of. So we have some OptimIA events coming up, which you can find at the website listed in the upper right-hand corner. Also at the SCRI OptimIA site, you're going to find OptimIA University, which is a recent undertaking to publicize a bunch of different topics, each presented by different members of the OptimIA group. And so I would check that page to see a lot of our recent uploads about common issues in CEA or basics, things that'll be very informative for anyone that's growing or doing research in the space. Dr. Quo, were there any specific events you wanted to bring up from the that webpage in the top right?
No, that's actually, yeah. So the schedule coming up, so it should be there. Anyway, so the next slide, I think, is the university, OptimIA University slide, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, well, there it is. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. So already mentioned this, but this is going to give you a lot of basic foundational knowledge for the indoor farming and controlled environment space. So you can see some of the topics on the right-hand side. There are probably a couple dozen presentations uploaded now, and I think there are more on the way. Mm-hmm. And so stay tuned to that as we'll see more of those get uploaded and out for communication.
Okay.
And then today's agenda, we're going to hear from Dr. Ken Tran of Koidra about the autonomous greenhouse challenges and indoor farm automation. And afterwards, we'll have a Q&A that won't be recorded, and that'll just be open discussion. All right, so I believe that's the last slide. So with that, I'm happy to turn it over to Ken, who you can go ahead and share your screen and get started.
Thank you very much for the introduction, John, and thank you, Jerry, for inviting me. So this is my presentation for today. And before I start, I would like to highlight that it's supposed to be very interactive. It's going to be short and interactive. So let's get started. So quick introduction about our company. I am the CTO and CEO of Koidra, and Koidra is a company that builds IT and OT. OT stands for operational technology and industrial controls. So our focus is on making intelligent digital decisions to help indoor farms and also other kinds of factories to have higher yield, higher productivity, more savings, and more autonomous, more scalable. And the core of our technology is so-called AIoT, which is the bridge, which is the intersection of AI and IoT. So within the CEA space, the key problems that we solve include the following. Number one is the shortage of the skilled growers. I believe that many of you here already know this problem. And even with the skilled growers, there are still a lot of inefficiencies in growing because growing today is still manual, is still based on experience and quite ad hoc and not yet data driven, not yet automated. For example, there's still some grower who sits at the climate computer and trying and changing the set point from time to time, going through many pages in the climate computer. So that is the inefficiency that I'm talking about. And trying to solve that inefficiency can also be challenging, even at forward-looking companies, because of the data silos problems, because the data is very fragmented and not even stored properly, and even at the state-of-the-art facilities, there's still a lack of interop among the data and control systems. They are just walled gardens. So that's a brief introduction about our company and what we do. And then I'm going to move on to our recent win at the 2022 Autonomous Greenhouse Challenge, and on lettuce, not on cucumbers. So the goal of the challenge, for those who don't already know, twofold. One is autonomy. So can vegetables be grown in a greenhouse or environment in a fully automated way with the use of AI? So can our growing practice be automated and reproduced by the computers? And the second goal is the enhanced productivity. Can the algorithms take it even further and make growing even more productive, more efficient? From many standpoints. One is yield, and also the other dimension is resource usage efficiency. So for this challenge, we actually won both challenges in phase one, which happened in 2021. So we outperformed 46 teams from 24 countries, and in that online challenge, we performed on both. There were two sub challenges, computer vision and simulation, and our team won that one. One note I would like to highlight is that in this challenge we collaborated with researchers from Cornell and also Rutgers, such as Neil Masson from Cornell and AJ from Rutgers. They both belong to the GLACE organization in general, and that's why we have the name Koala, which is the combination of Koidra and GLACE. In phase two, which happened from early 2022 to late June, we grew in two trials of lettuce growing in the real greenhouses in Bleiswijk, Netherlands. There were 5 competing AI teams and 1 reference team. Well, and in that compartment is governed by experienced Dutch growers who are experienced in growing lettuce. Now, well, before talking about the results and also what we did, let me also give you some more details about the set points and the sensors. So in this competition, we had to control everything about HVAC and lighting. And lighting is not so they use LED. So we didn't just turn the LED on and off, but also we had to control the dimmability of the light, which was one of our strengths, actually. It was interesting. The usual suspects like ventilation, heating, CO2. There are some other interesting parameters that are not even available in the typical climate computer, such as controlling the crop density and via using the mobile girders, a simulation of the mobile girders, if you will. So actually there were some humans actually moving the girders because that was a small compartment. So it's not feasible to have a real mobile girder system. So we also controlled the plant's density in parallel to every other climate set point. In terms of sensors and everything, and unlike other editions, unlike the previous editions of the Autonomous Greenhouse Challenge, everything was automated. Once we set up the algorithms for the trial, we could not do anything. We could ask for some intervention, but if we ask for intervention, we would be penalized. So our team tried, and for most teams try not to intervene to change the algorithm. And our team tried to intervene only once. So during that growing cycle, there were, in order to facilitate fully automated growing, we used some interesting novel sensors, such as the depth camera from the RealSense depth camera. So the depth camera allows us to see not just the crop in RGB, but also the depth. So that way we could measure the height of the crop in real time as well. And so we combined the depth and the RGB to calculate the volume and to model the volume of the plant for weight estimation. Another interesting sensor that I would like to highlight, which is not here in my slides, is the thermal camera. And when we had so in the let me go back to the online challenge. We were provided a lot of labeled data for the temperature for the thermal cameras. So we were able to train computer vision models to estimate the temperature and also the weight estimations from the RealSense cameras and also the lift temperature. And I'm going to talk about that in more details later. So before talking about the technicalities, let me highlight the results. So of course so this is our team, Koala is our team, and this is our net profit at the end after the growing cycle. And so before I started Koidra, I worked at Microsoft Research before, and in 2018, I also led a team called Sonoma at Microsoft Research that won the very first Autonomous Greenhouse Challenge, and that time was on cucumbers. And for the second time, we were the #1 team, and for the second time, we outperformed the reference growers, and the reference grower outperformed every other team, as you can see here. So the familiar face here means, yeah, this is our repeated win at the Autonomous Greenhouse Challenge. So this is the main slides that captures the spirit of this talk. So lessons learned. So one key lesson learned is that we focus on the full stack and on the safety and the robustness of our pipeline. It's not just a single innovation that explains the winning. It's the whole pipeline that is robust and safe. That robust full pipeline has several sub innovations itself. Let me take so in terms of the pipeline we had, so these are motivated by our 3 products at Koidra. So we have the IoT suite, we have the digital twin, and also the autopilot. So we use our IoT suite for for data ingestion, visualization, and monitoring, and for data smoothing. So there are many little things that are not so important by themselves if they in a standalone context, but together they help make our pipeline very robust. And because we already had the data ingestion and visualizations and monitoring data infrastructure, it helped us implement robust solutions very quickly. So I can foresee that many other teams who don't have such a good data infrastructure had to apply a lot of hacking, right? Just a lot of patchwork just to make the system work, and there could be a lot of bugs, flaws, and other features that do not help them visualize the data and the plant growth sufficiently. The second thing that we had was the digital twin. And of course, we had to develop some new capabilities in the digital twin. In a nutshell, the digital twin is physics-informed machine learning model that simulates the plant's growth. It models the climate, and also it has two sub-models. One is the climate model and another is the crop model. And for this challenge, we had the cameras to augment our models. So that we use the thermal cameras, and we had so during this challenge, we innovated for the very first time in the world, a robust leaf temperature sensor. And if you think about it, leaf temperature sensor today doesn't even exist. But we were able to, using computer vision, using the thermal imaging and computer vision methods, we were able to extract the leaf temperature measurements in real time. We also, using the, so we had two models for estimating the real-time plant weight. One is from the canonical, the existing digital twin model, and another one is from our computer vision model, leveraging the data from the RealSense cameras. And we combined the two models together for increased robustness. So with that, with those sensors and the models, we were able to calculate the transpiration rate and photosynthetic rate in real time. And also we were able to measure the real-time plant's growth to help us make a lot of decisions, such as when to space, when to respace, and whether we should be conservative in terms of lighting or no. We also looked ahead into the future to see whether we should use lighting or not. And the crop trial was from 1st of May to end of June. And during that particular season, we did not use any lighting at all. According to our model, we didn't. So our electricity consumption was 0. And if you only look at our results for this year alone, you may have a thinking that our algorithm is conservative. But in 2018, we had another algorithm, and we won. I won the first autonomous greenhouse challenge in 2018 by using maximal light. And then in this year, we won by using no light. So that is an interesting point to consider. Or if you look at this, so this is an illustration of our real-time dashboards, and so this is the image from our RGB the real sense camera. And this is a snapshot of our online real-time yield prediction. So, and it was fairly accurate. We could have obtained even further like higher profit if we were not too conservative about when to harvest. So at the time of harvesting, our plant was already 270 something grams. So this is grams, not ppm. So, and last but not least, in terms of our product portfolio. So this, the IoT suite is for data management, data visualization, and data infrastructure. The digital twin is to help us know about the crop growth, but the autopilot or the digital decisions is to help us make the automated control decision. And if I have to describe our technologies, then this would be the pictures that encapsulates our technologies. So it's not just one domain of machine learning. It's not just AI or machine learning. It's also not just about IoT. So it's the fusion of all of these disciplines, including physical sciences such as climate modeling, crop modeling, the IoT, how to use the sensors, and how to do the data, the cloud-based data management, and how to apply machine learning in conjunction with the mechanistic models where appropriate. This is just a bonus slide in case that describes our another perspective about our AI approach, if you are interested. So here are a lot of data sources, and this is our digital twin. It comes from the combination of a physics-based model and a machine learning model, and that's why it's called physics-informed machine learning. And the digital twin informs the optimizations. There's an optimization engine that uses the digital twin to make the plant, and it fits into the autonomous controls, and this forms a closed feedback loop. And we try to make our optimizations engine as flexible and as robust as possible by allowing the users to fit in their business target. It could be about the yield, it could be about the economics or the quality, whatever, as long as it can be quantified in some kinds of formula. So I believe that that's my last slide for this presentation, and I will welcome any questions that you may have.
Right. Thank you, Ken.